Norton Township Board of Supervisors on this meeting to order. Please rise for our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us begin with our roll call, please.
Matthew Brown, Chief of Police. Thomas Douglas, Deputy Chief of Police.
Krista Heinrich, Township Engineer.
Cindy King, Director of Finance.
Jeff Winterbottom, Assistant Manager.
Bob Orr, Township Consultant.
Sean Cocaine, Township Solicitor.
Kevin McDevitt, Supervisor.
Laura Rivera, Supervisor.
Patty Mark, Supervisor.
Joe Gavanis, Vice Chair.
Samuel Coleman, Chair. At this time, I'd like to call upon Premier Accreditation for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The East Norton Police Department has been accredited since May of 2006. And we recently, on our last assessment, received a Premier Agency classification. I have invited Chief Jim Adams, who's a retired law enforcement veteran, served as a police chief for the Upper Allen Township Police Department of Pennsylvania. He's recognized for his leadership, including role as a PA Chiefs Association Accreditation Program Coordinator for the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, known as PLEAC. If the chief would come up to the front here, I've asked him to come and to explain a little bit about what it means to be a premier agency and how that process works.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity. And I could just come and hand off the certificate and the plaque to your chief, but I think that would be disservice not only to the police department, but you as the elected officials to truly understand what this certificate and what this premier status represents. It's more than just a certificate, it's more than just a plaque. I'd like to back in time a little bit and how this accreditation program in Pennsylvania came to be. Back in the 1990s, a statewide study was done as far as on law enforcement policies and procedures. And what they discovered, which a lot of people already knew, the majority of police departments didn't have valid policy, they didn't have valid procedures, if they had policy or procedures at all. So like sending your football team and a quarterback out on the field without a playbook. Just go out and get the job done. And that was just not good. So Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police got a grant from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency to develop a best standard or a best practice program in Pennsylvania, which predated and brought about our accreditation program. They put together not only law enforcement leaders, but elected officials, solicitors, district attorneys, defense attorneys, representing all facets of law enforcement. And they spent several years putting together best practices and providing law enforcement services in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Our accreditation program rolled out live in 2001. Chief mentioned that his department became accredited for the first time in 2005, but he overlooked something that I think is very important for you to recognize. East Norton Township Police Department was a leader back in 2005 when it became accredited. They were the 17th police department in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to be granted accredited status. We have about 1,100 municipal police departments in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but our program also covers sheriff's departments, covers private police departments, which are colleges and universities, our district attorneys, criminal investigations divisions, state entities like the Capitol Police, the Office of Attorney General, and I can go on and on and on. So back then, being the 17th police department to embrace professional standards really is something to be recognized. But fast forward, they became accredited, and what that means is they spent time looking at our accreditation standards or best practices, looking at their policy manual, making sure that for every one of our standards, and right now we have 140 standards in our program, and making sure that they have policy or written directives that addresses each one of those standards. But then also, once they have that accomplished, then they also have to have a minimum of 2 proofs of compliance for each one of those best practices or those standards. Best practices, making sure you can have the best policy manual in the world sitting on your shelf. But if nobody's following it, it's probably causing you more liability than less liability. So that's what our proofs of compliance are, proving that the staff at all levels are actually complying with the policies. I say 140 standards, but that's a little bit of a misnomer because a lot of those are bulleted out and have individual written directives that has to be complied with. When you add them up, this certificate, being accredited, represents compliance with 370 best practices of providing professional law enforcement services to the community. So then they became accredited, and they had, for the first year, we just go back that first 12 to 18 month period for 2 proofs of compliance. So they had about 700 proofs. Every 3 years, we send a new team of assessors in to spend time with your police department, going through the policy manual, and again, making sure that every one of those best practices has a written directive or a policy addressing it. So here we are in 2026. They've been reaccredited 7 times. Once a department has been accredited a minimum of 5 times, all through reassessment, and also during that 3-year period annually, your police chief has to send in a very detailed annual report to my office, basically doing his own self-assessment of the police department and testing that they're in full compliance with all the standards. But then every 3 years, we send a new team of assessors to your police department to spend time going through the policy manual, making sure that there is a policy as far as addressing every one of those best practices, and that there's a minimum of 2 proofs of compliance for each 12-month period of that 3-year cycle. So I sometimes get asked, what's the advantage of being an accredited police department? Well, I start out by saying, Chief, how many burglaries did your officers prevent last night by being out of control? Really don't know the answer to that. But the one thing the statistics show, in the insurance industry that provides liability insurance to municipalities in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, along nationwide, accredited police departments, municipalities that have accredited police departments get sued less often than municipalities that have not accredited police departments. Also, when a municipality that has an accredited police department does get sued and there's a payout, the payouts are significantly less. So accreditation is saving municipalities money and actually saving the insurance industry as far as risk management. Workers' compensation claims are down compared to accredited police departments versus non-accredited. Police vehicle crashes are down. There's a whole litany of benefits to it. But some other benefits I mentioned too. I know it's a little bit dated, but I think it's still a good example. When the very unfortunate George Floyd incident happened out in Minnesota, some of our state elected officials came out, and this may ring a bell with you, of the 8 Can't Wait initiatives for law enforcement. The 8 Can't Wait initiatives were all things, 8 very good points that they felt that police departments need to immediately adopt in policy. Well, guess what? All of our accredited agencies have already had all of those 8 points as standards and have policy clearly covering them. The Trump first administration, DOJ came out with a mandate that if the Department of Justice money for law enforcement, you had to have 2 what they call credentialing standards related to use of force. Well, guess what? All of our accredited police departments already had those in place. Fast forward, the Biden administration upped those to 20 mandated credentialing standards. I think you know what that is. All 20 of those are already embedded into our accreditation program. So here we are, down the road, 7 reassessments. They've met all the criteria for our premier status. They're only the 46th department in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that have been premier status. We currently have 209 accredited police departments, and that's out of that 1,100 plus. So just becoming accredited is an accomplishment itself. And this is not a certificate for life. We lose 1 or 2 police departments every year because of various reasons. But the program is growing, we keep getting more and more. I can stand here and talk all night long about accreditation, but I suspect you have other things to do. But I'd like to wrap it up, because I've been talking generally about the program. I pulled their last assessment report, and I just want to give you what the assessment team that was here on site evaluating your police department had to say. The East Norton Township Police Department is a well-organized, well-directed, and professional police department dedicated to quality service. All department personnel follow through with the necessary objectives to maintain a high level of service and are obviously dedicated to the accreditation program and the community. This was repeatedly confirmed by our observations and interactions with department personnel who have embraced the accreditation process and have implemented the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards as their best practices for the agency. It is apparent the East Norton Township Police Department has been and continues to be dedicated to delivering quality police services to the community that they serve. That's what the assessment team had to say. So without any further ado, if you want to learn more about accreditation, anybody, you in the audience, can Google PA Chiefs. There's an accreditation tab. Those 140 standards are all listed. You can see what other police departments are accredited, and you have 2 resident experts. You have a whole police department of resident experts on accreditation. They've been through it many times. So there's your first point of contact to ask questions. Without any further ado, I'd like to call the chief over and publicly present both his accreditation certificate and his premier status plaque.
Tommy, want to come and take it? I'll hold that.
He takes the, he, I'll take it. Let me get the free. Set me straight.
Board, board down clapping?
Absolutely.
Take a picture. Why would I do it again?
Send me the post on it.
Thanks again.
Should have been off. Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and once again, congratulations to you and to all the members of our Township Police Department. For this, the board met in executive session to discuss matters of personnel and other business. At this time, we've all received the minutes from our June 23rd, 2026 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I like that one motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is we moved properly second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, do we have any citizens to be heard? Citizens to be heard, citizens to be heard. All right, very good. At this time, do we have any comments by our board of supervisors? All right. Old business, can we talk about old business? Authorization to advertise an ordinance amending chapter 127, prohibitations on the use of brake retarders. I would like to call on our township solicitor, Sean Kilkenny, to review this item.
Thank you very much. This item may sound familiar to you because we acted on this actually last month, but in reviewing this more thoroughly with our staff, we wanted to include some other roads in here related to this, to specifically exact portions of Swede Road and the Cow Pike, and add those in for the use of engine brake retarders, to make sure we cover everything that we wanted to under the purpose of this original ordinance, which we passed in July. If you remember, this was in conjunction with the police, with PennDOT standards, our engineer and traffic engineer and such. So we just wanted to fully encompass everything, get everything right, and so this is an amendment to our ordinance passed last month.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion for approval, please.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Before I go on, I need to ask our council consultant. I think I said June 23rd when we approved the minutes, and it should have been July. I said June, but I need to go back.
Yeah, why don't you just make a motion to...
I'll make that the point motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. I just want to make sure we got it right for the record. All right, thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, 2027 minimal municipality obligations. I would like to call on our Director of Finance, Cindy King.
Thank you, Supervisor McFadden. So I have a presentation for the Township Pension MMO, which is the minimum, can't say it 3 times fast, minimum municipal obligation for 2027. The MMO is the payment the township is required to make for our 3 pension plans. We have 3 separate plans: the police defined benefit plan, the non-uniform employee defined benefit plan, which we froze 5 years ago, and the non-uniform defined contribution plan for new employees that were hired after the defined benefit plan was frozen. So looking at this graph, this shows the yield history for our non-uniform employee benefit plan. The market value yields indicated by the blue line over the past 10 years have had highs and lows, some fairly significant ones. You'll notice the actuarial value indicated by the orange line depicts very different figures over the past 6 to 7 years. This is because we use a smoothing method for calculating our MMO, meaning the amounts are smoothed out over a 5-year period, which keeps our annual contributions a little more level. So even with the yield loss in 2022 of 13.5%, you can see we actually had a yield gain due to the smoothing, if you look at the orange line. So with the police pension, you'll notice basically the same thing, and the with the market value looking very different than the actuarial value. And it just allows us to keep the benefit. It's a benefit to us because it keeps everything a little more level, and we're not doing high amounts in the years where we have a loss. The following year, we would have to make a very, very large contribution if we weren't using the smoothing calculation. So overall, our funding percentage is at a high level compared to other municipalities in the state. This is calculated every 2 years, so we won't see another change until 2028, and that would be for the 2027 valuation. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think across the state, the range is somewhere around 70, in the 70 to 80% range. So you can see we're very good, we're in very good shape compared to some other municipalities. And that's the same for the police pension plan too. It's in the upper 80s, so that's also in a very good place. The MMO calculation itself has several different components. So first we have the normal cost, the blue area, and that's what it costs each year to pay our pensioners or retirees. The cost to administer the plan, the orange area, is also very low. The amortization contribution in large is the amount we pay in to compensate for years when we have the large yield losses. And as stated on the earlier slides, with the 5-year smoothing method, is what allows us to keep the MMO at a reasonable rate and a little bit level each year. Without implementing that, we would have the very high years and the very, very low years. Then finally, we have the yellow area, which depicts the employee contributions to the plan. And as we have more retirees, the blue area will become larger, and the gray area should begin to level out or even decrease over time. And you'll see the same kind of methodology for the police pension plan. So for our 2027, our MMO for the police defined benefit plan is $1,067,593. The non-uniform defined benefit plan is $411,581, and the non-uniform defined contribution plan $40,590. And I would note that each September, we receive a state pension grant, and we always use that grant to assist in paying for the police pension obligation. This year, we're anticipating receiving around $550,000 that would contribute to the police pension plan. So I would entertain any questions, if anyone has any questions.
Any questions from the board? Mr. Chairman, if I could just add, like Ms. King said, the average typically is from year to year from average funding for statewide is usually 72 to 76%. We are over 90% and on the police pension pushing 90%. So we are well above the average that's out there. And that didn't come easy. I mean, this board and this township has worked hard to keep that up. So it puts us in a very advantageous position going forward, because you never know with our returns from year to year. It's hard to predict, but we've been very successful at it. We hope a little luck helps. Good work and a little luck really keep us in good positions.
All right. If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I will make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I would like to introduce resolution number 2940, authorizing the application to the Multimodal Transportation Fund Grant Program. And I would like to ask Township Consultant Bob Hart to move this item, please.
Thank you, Supervisor Rivera. It really is, before you was exactly what you said, it's authorization to apply for a multimodal transportation grant fund. Multimodal, for some reason, is very difficult to say. Every time I say it, I mess it up. It is a grant we are looking to apply for $663,462 in grant funding. This will continue our efforts throughout the township to put in ADA accessible ramps throughout many areas of the township. This has been an ongoing effort for several years now. We look for grants and then we attack certain areas and with the goal of just making our whole township at some point completely accessible. The interesting thing about this year is the state has waived the matching requirement. So there's no match, there's nothing out of the general fund, which will make Ms. King very happy. So we're hoping we get this and can do a lot of good work fast.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question. How much of the township still has to be done for the ADA ramps?
Percentage-wise, I couldn't tell you, but most. When you think about some of our neighborhoods, we've done a lot. We've done in several areas. Up in the Whitehall Road area, Pot Shop, a lot of the areas we've done there. A lot of times the reason we jump around is because we try to match them with our road program. Because sometimes we have to go in and sometimes we do an inlet in the ground. Many of our inlets were put in at a time 70 years ago here that were brick. And as you know, if you have a brick inlet and the water comes in, it just destroys it over time. So when we go in, we take them out, we put in precast inlets, and so there's a whole concept around combining them with our road program. But I would say in the 80% range is left. But then that's not even taking into effect, there are some areas where they don't even have sidewalks. And as much as we would know, everybody thinks, well, you get a sidewalk grant, you have somebody come in, I want sidewalks, and then when you go out to a street and talk to all the neighbors who don't have sidewalks, and 80% of them say, if you put a sidewalk in, I'm coming after you. So you don't know where you're going. You think it's a good thing always, but some people bought their house, as I've been told many times, because it didn't have a sidewalk. So it's just your preference, and it's not just this township, it's every township. I've been through many
similar situation. So that's really about it, but it's a constant, it's going to go on for many years because we generally do it grant-based. So,
Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I will make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All probably second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2941, 6 Hancock Avenue, Grace Covenant Church, waiver of land development. I'd like to call on Township Engineer Krista Heinrich to review this item.
Thank you, Supervisor Mark. This is an application for a 2,000 square foot addition, which would be a detached building that would serve for their youth program at the Grace Covenant Church located at 16 Hancock Avenue. The applicant's requesting a waiver of the land development process, which would be conditioned on them obtaining a grading permit. They are here tonight if you have any questions for them, but this was heard by the Planning Commission and they did recommend granting the waiver of land development.
Any questions from the board? No. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make that a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Authorization to advertise an ordinance amending a portion of Chapter 165 solid waste. I'd like to call on Assistant Township Manager Jeff Witherbottom to review this item.
Thank you, Chair Coleman. So earlier in the year, we advertised to apply for a grant for a piece of equipment for Public Works. The DEP reviewed and stated we needed to add some language to the existing waste management ordinance. Our solicitor's office added the appropriate language. It was sent back to DEP who approved. So we come to you now looking for board approval to advertise the revised ordinance. The original one was in 2008.
Any
It's more
questions?
of a housekeeping item more than anything else.
Jeff? Any questions from the board? With that, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Okay, it's time to pay the bills. And better known as the monthly expenditures, I'd like to call on Cindy King, who's our Director of Finance, to review them.
Thank you, Supervisor Givanis. So the monthly expenditures that we are requesting be approved from the period of July 28th through August 24th. The accounts payable, $494,701.80. Payroll, $516,109.73, for a total of $1,010,811.53. And there was no police asset forfeiture expenditure during that time period.
Any questions from the board? All right, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve monthly expenditures of $1,010,811.53.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and probably seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Now at this time, we'd like our township up-to-date update from our township consultant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really just want to focus on, we're finishing up the summer of summer camp and summer concerts and all the fun things of summer, but we are all focused on our community day. That comes up on the 12th of September, a couple Saturdays from now. It's going to be a special community. As many people know who have been here, we have the Community Day of Montgomery County. This is a special one. We're celebrating America 250. So there'll be a lot of extra activities and a lot of extra attractions for that. So stay tuned for that. We were, I know, Mr. Chairman, you and our Director of Parks and Rec were honored recently because we were about to do an interview about our Community Day. Our local reporter contacted and said, asked to do an interview about Community Day and said, you guys are the cream of the crop, you're the gold standard when it comes to Community Day. So we appreciate that because it's a lot of work. It's a commitment from everybody in this, from the supervisors to everyone on down. So we're really looking forward to that. It will be an event not to be missed.
And I think they'll be talking about this one for a long time, so stay tuned, and I hope everyone will join us on as well.
Thank you very much, and I want to say up front, thank you to Parks and Rec, to facilities, to police, fire, everyone, because I know when this is over, we are all just going to take a sigh of relief and relax. I'm very excited about it, but at the same time, there is a lot of work that goes into pulling this off. And so there are multiple people doing multiple things, and every year I'm just so proud of, what we are able to accomplish. And East Norton is a welcoming community. I know there are those out there in social media land that think that, it's just a tourist attraction, but guess what? We are proud to welcome everybody to East Norton for this great event, because we're one of the most welcoming communities in Montgomery County, and we are very proud of this event, and I can't wait to welcome everybody. I'll be in multiple roles with our fire department, as well as, working, just mixing and mingling and greeting everyone, so we're definitely looking forward to that. Any other comments from the board before we move on to our next item? And with that in mind, upcoming events. Tuesday, September 8th, 2026, 7 p.m. is our next zoning hearing board meeting. Wednesday, September 16th, 7 p.m. our next planning commission meeting. Thursday, September 17th, 7 p.m. our next human relations commission meeting. Tuesday, September 22nd, 7 p.m. is our next Board of Supervisors regular meeting. And Monday, September 28th, 6:30 p.m. is the next Historical Advisory Committee meeting. Upcoming events, September 1st is our blood drive, 6 p.m. in the field house. Tuesday, September 8th, our walking club. Walking club will meet at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Saturday, September 12th, as we just announced, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. is our world famous Community Day. Saturday, September 19th, 9 to 11 a.m. will be our plant swap. Monday, September 21st, 10:30 a.m. is bingo. Please register. And lastly, rounding out the month, Saturday, September 26th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. will be our first party in the park. At this time, do we have any citizens to be heard? Yes, please approach the podium.
Gwendolyn Bivens, and I think you guys touched on it a little bit. The storm drains is collapsing in the 2100 block of Broadway, and also the 200 block of Shamokin. The cracks was back like this, now they're like this. And I think I'm not an engineer, I'm not trying to take that job, but we have these huge, humongous trucks. I know it's a landscaping company in that area. The streets are horrible. I looked into the storm drain today. The bricks are down there. I had to call the water company because I got an astronomical bill. I'm by myself, and I got a water consumption of 5,100. From 18 is my norm. The water company is coming out on Friday to see what's going on, but it's collapsing. So if someone can come out and take a look at that storm drain, because you can see all the bricks, and where the water main is for the street, you can see how the street is going up. It's like bubbling, I guess, up, and everything else is flat. I'm on the corner, and I will get all the water if anything happens. So that's my concern. Not a complaint, it's a concern. And that storm drain is done. Okay, thank you.
I'm sure everyone. In fact, the staff was out there today on another issue, but that we dealt with today, but we will make sure we're at it tomorrow.
Thank you. Any other citizens be heard? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Lizzie Mancini. I live at 2903 Keywood Road. And my concern today is, of course, the traffic on Germantown Pike, because my backyard faces the pike. And lately, there's been a number of accidents. 2 weeks ago, there was a serious accident that happened to be my next door neighbor. If his wife had been in the car with him, she would be dead. And today, this afternoon, there was another accident up at North Wheels Road and Germantown Pike. Now, what I've noticed, and I guess everybody else has noticed, that on the south side of Germantown Pike, from North Wheels Road, you have an exit there. You have 2 exits coming from the townhomes, and you have the railroad tracks. Then you have another exit coming from Davis. On the north side, that's the bad side of Germantown Pike. You have North Wheels Road, you have Scenic Road, then you have the hairdresser going out onto the pike. Then you have the medical building trying to get out onto the pike. You have the railroad tracks. You have Felton Road, that's where the bad accident was. Then you have another exit coming from, I guess it's another hairdresser. So you have all these entrances, exits going onto the pike. And you know what traffic is like on the pike. So I don't know if anything has been done about this, or if anything can be done about it. It's just getting worse and worse. That's my concern.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sure our chief or deputy chief can speak on that. There's been some increased enforcement, and as you know, it's always, we hear many of the concerns you hear. I hear from our elected supervisors, so I'll let them speak about that, but the exits and entrances aren't necessarily anything we can do about that. So I'll let them deal with the traffic issue.
The one bad crash was somebody running the red light at that intersection. We have increased and brought attention to our patrol officers to increase. If you haven't noticed, we've been out there doing more significant, not that we don't always do it, but we've even done more traffic enforcement after those 2 crashes on Germantown Pike. I believe the 2 ones that you're referring to.
Well, that was the one today. They ran the red light.
No, not today. That was one of the 2 that we had about a week ago at Felton Road there.
Yeah, there's no light there at Felton Road.
No, that's where the cars ended up. But the crash took place because somebody ran a red light in Germantown and Stanbridge and Stony Creek. They ran the red
I
light.
didn't know that because I heard it was at Felton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And the reason we can't control the driveway traffic is because it's not our road?
Well, a little bit with that, but there's also some restrictions we have. We can't do necessarily, we can do traffic enforcement, and when they do a land development, there's certain things we can do. But in general, it is a county road, which limits, I mean, everyone knows when they redid the lines for the railroad last year, and the county's paver paved it, it felt like it was a ramp. Now, to be fair, we went out and I'll put myself in this position. When I'm going exactly the speed limit, it isn't so much, but I realize I'm going to go over the speed limit, so I thought it was legal to some degree. So we called the county and said, can you lower it for irresponsible people like Bob Hart? And they said no. So, but it's one of those things, but I think we all experienced that, and I know the police went out and literally tested it. And if you're going exactly the speed limit, you can't jump any barrels, or anything like that. So, again, it's a constant effort, and I know our police are focused on it, but they will tell you more than anyone, the moment they're not on the road, people are flying the heck out. They'll slow down when they see So,
And I've seen the patrol officer almost every morning.
yeah, it's a constant.
Yeah.
And I promise you, the first time they ticket someone for speed, if they're going 70, you'll see later on the day on Facebook, all these Norton does is taking us to make money. I mean, this is the world we live in, but, you know, we still have to do our job. So,
All right. Are there any other citizens to be heard? All right, with that in mind, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out. Have a great night.